Today, we're going to read the book, The Heroes of Olympus by Rick Riordan, the son of Neptune. Book 2, Percy. Chapter 1. The snake-haired ladies were starting to annoy Percy. They should have died 3 days ago when he dropped a crate of bowling balls on them at the Napa Virgin Mart. They should have died 2 days ago when he ran over them with a police car in Martinez. They definitely should have died this morning when he cut off their heads and tied them apart. No matter how many times Percy killed them and watched them crumble to powder, they just kept reforming like large evil dust bunnies. He couldn't even seem to outturn them. He reached the top of the hill and caught his breath. How long since he had killed them? Maybe 2 hours. They never seemed to stay dead longer than that. The past few days, he hardly slept. He had eaten whatever he could: scrounge, vending machine, gummy bears, stale bagels, even a Jack and the Crackpot trio, which was a new personal low. His clothes were torn, burned, and splattered with monster slime. He only survived this long because the two snake-haired ladies, gorgons they called themselves, couldn't seem to kill him either. Their claws didn't cut his skin. Their teeth broke whenever they tried to bite him. But Percy couldn't keep going much longer. Soon he collapsed from exhaustion. And then, as hard as he was to kill, he was pretty sure the gorgons would find a way. Where to run? He scanned his surroundings. Under different circumstances, he might have enjoyed the view. To his left, golden hills rolled inland, dotted with lakes, woods, and few herds of cows. To his right, the flatlands of Berkeley and Oakland marched west, a vast chalkboard of neighborhoods, with several million people who probably did not want their morning interrupted by two monsters and filthy demons. Further west, San Francisco Bay glittered under silvery haze. Past that, a wall of fog had swallowed most of San Francisco, leaving just the top of skyscrapers and the towers of the Golden Gate Bridge. A vague sadness weighed on Percy's chest. Something told him he had been to San Francisco before. The city has some connection to Annabeth's, the only person he could remember from his past. His memory of her was frustratingly dim. The wolf had promised he would see her again and regain his memory if he succeeded in his journey. Should he try to cross the bay? It was tempting. He could feel the power of the ocean just over the horizon. Water always revived him. Salt water was the best. He discovered that 2 days ago when he had strangled a sea monster in the Corcoran Strait. If he could reach the bay, he might be able to make a last stand. Maybe he could even drown the gorgons. But the shore was at least 2 miles away. He'd have to cross the entire city. He hesitated for another reason. The she-wolf Lupa had taught him to sharpen his senses, to trust the instincts that had been guiding his self. His homing rudder was tingling like crazy now. The end of the journey was close, almost right under his feet. But how could that be? There was nothing on the hilltop. The wind changed. Percy caught the sore scent of reptile 100 yards down the slope. Something rustled through the woods, snapping branches, crunching leaves, hissing. Gorgons. For the millionth time, Percy wished their noses weren't so good. They'd always said that they could smell him because he was the half-blood son of some old Roman god. Percy had tried rolling in mud, splashing through creeks, even keeping air freshener sticks in his pockets so he'd have that new car smell. But apparently, the mud stink was hard to mask. New car smell, but apparently the mud stink was hard to mask. He scrambled to the west side of the summit. It was too steep to descent. The slope plummeted 80 feet straight to the roof of an apartment complex built into the hillside. 50 feet below that, a highway emerged from the hill base and wound its way toward Berkeley. Great! No other way up the hill. He'd managed to get himself cornered. He started at the stream of cars flowing west towards San Francisco and wished he were in one of them. Then he realized the highway was cut through the hill. There must be a tunnel right under his feet. His internal radar went nuts. He was in the right place, just too high up. He had to check out that tunnel. He needed a way down to the highway fast. He slung up his backpack. He managed to grab a lot of supplies at the Napa Virgin Mart. A portable GPS, a duct tape, lighter, super glue, water bottle, camping rope, a comfy panda pillow pad, as seen on TV, and Swiss Army knife, pretty much even to a more than watch could want. But he had nothing that would serve as a parachute or a sledge. That left him two options: jump 80 feet to a cliff, or stand and fight. Both options sounded pretty bad. He cursed and pulled his pen from his pocket. The pen didn't look like much, just a regular cheap ballpoint. But when Percy uncapped it, it grew into glowing bronze stars. The blade balanced perfectly. The leather grip fit his hand like it had been costume designed for him. Etched along the guard was an ancient Greek word Percy somehow understood. Anakylosmus. Reptile. He'd woken up with this sword his first night at the Wolf House. 2 months ago? More. He'd lost track. He found himself in the country yard of a burned-out mansion in the middle of the woods, wearing shorts, an orange t-shirt, and a leather necklace with a bunch of strange clay beads. Ripton had been in his hand, but Percy had no idea how he'd gotten there, and only the vaguest idea who he was. He'd been barefoot, freezing, and confused, and then the wolves came. Right next to him, a familiar voice jolted him back to the prison. There you are! Percy stumbled away from the Gorgon, almost falling off the edge of the hill. It was the smiley one, Beano. Okay, her name wasn't really Beano. As near as Percy could figure, he was dyslexic because words got twisted around when he tried to read. The right time he seen the Gorgon passing as a Virgin Mart glittered with a big green button that read, Welcome, my name is Stano. He thought it was Beano. She was still wearing her green Virgin Mart employee vest over a flower print dress. If you look just at her body, you might think she was somebody's dumpy old grandmother's, until you look down and realize she had bruised her feet. Or you look up and saw bronze boar tusk sticking out of the corners of her mouth. Her eyes glowed red, and her hair was wreathing necks of bright green snakes. The most horrible thing about her, she was still holding her big silver platter of free samples, crispy cheese, wieners. Her platter was dented from all the time. Percy had killed her, but those little samples looked perfectly fine. Steno just kept potting them away across California so she could offer Percy a snack before she killed him. Percy didn't know why she kept doing that, but if he ever needed a suit of armor, he was going to make it out of crispy cheese liners. They were indestructible. Try one, Steno offered. Percy fended her off with his sword. Where's your sister? Oh, put the sword away, Steno chided. You know by now that even cluster of bones can't kill us for long. Have a cheese, winner. They're on sale this week, and I hate to kill you on an empty stomach. Steno, the second Gorgon appeared and Percy striked so fast. He didn't have time to react. Fortunately, she was too busy glaring at her sister to pay him much attention. I told you to sneak up on him and kill him. Steno smiled rivered. But Euro, she said the name so it rhymed with Mario. Can't I give him a sample first? No, you imbecile. Ariel turned toward Percy and bared her fangs, except for her hair, which was a nest of coral snakes instead of green vipers. She looked exactly like her sister, her virgin marked wrist, her flowery dress, even her tux were decorated with 50% of stickers. Her name badge read, Hello, my name is Dot, the Mod Scum. You have led us on quite a chase, Percy Jackson, Yarrow said, but now you're trapped, and we have our revenge. The cheese and winner are only $2.99. Steno added helpfully. Grocery department aisle I was snared. Steno. The virgin mark was front. You're going native. Put down that ridiculous tray and help me kill this demodged. Or have you forgotten that he's the one who vapors Medusa? Percy stepped back 6 more inches, and he'd be tumbling through thin air. Look, ladies, we have been over this. I don't even remember killing Medusa. I don't remember anything. Can we just call a truce and talk about your weekly specials? Steno gave her sister a putty look, which was hard to do with giant bronze tusks. Can we? No, Ariel red eyes bored into Percy. I don't care what you remember, son of the sea god. I can't smell Medusa's blood on you. It's faint, yes, several years old, but you were the last one to defeat her. She still has not returned from Tartarus. It's your fault. Percy didn't really get that. The whole dying then returning from Tartarus concept gave him a headache. Of course, so did the idea that a ballpoint pen turned into a sword, or that monsters could disguise themselves with something called mist, or that Percy was the son of the buzzer insect god from 5,000 years ago. But he did believe it. Even though his memory was erased, he knew he was a Demotch, the same way he knew his name was Percy Jackson. From his very first conversation with Lupa the wolf, he'd accept that this crazy messed up world of gods and monsters was his reality, which pretty much sucked. How about we call it a draw, he said. I can kill you, you can kill me. If you're Medusa's sister, like the Medusa who turned people to stone, shouldn't I be purified by now? Heroes, Harry said with disgust. They always bring that up, just like you're our mother. Why can't you turn people to stone? Your sister can turn people to stone. Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you, boy. That was Medusa Cursalon. She was the most hideous one in the family. She got all the luck. Steno looked hard. Mother said I was the most hideous. Quiet, Arrow snapped. As for you, Percy Jackson, it's true you bear the mark of Achilles. That makes you a little tougher to kill. But don't worry, we'll find a way. The mark of what? Achilles, Steno said cheerfully. Oh, he was gorgeous. Dip into the river Styx as a child? So he was invulnerable except for a tiny spot on his ankle. That's what happened to you, dear. Someone must have dumped you in the Styx and made your skin like iron. But not to worry, heroes, that you always have a weak spot. We just have to find it, and then we can kill you. Won't that be lovely? Have a cheese, winner. Percy tried to think. He didn't remember any dip in the Styx. Then again, he didn't remember much of anything. His skin didn't feel like iron, but it would explain how he held out so long resistant the Gorgons. Maybe if he fell down the mountain, would he survive? He didn't want to risk it, not without something to slow the foe or sled. Or he looked at Steno's large silver platter of free samples. Reconsidering, Steno asked, "Very wise, dear. I added some Gorgon's blood to this, so your death will be quick and painless." Percy's throat constricted. "You added your blood to the cheese and winter?" "Just a little," Steno smiled. "A tiny nick on my arm. But you're sweeter to be considered. Blood from our side can cure anything, But blood from our left side is deadly." "You dimwit!" Arrow screeched. "You're not supposed to tell him that. He won't eat the winners if you tell him they're poisoned." Steno looked stunned. "He won't? But I said it would be quick and painless." "Never mind." Arrow's fingernails grew into close. "We'll kill him the hard way. Just keep slashing until we find the weak spot. Once we defeat Percy Jackson, we will be more famous than Medusa. Our patron will reward us greatly." Percy gripped his sword. He'd had to time his move perfectly. A few seconds of confusion grabbed the platter with his left hand. "Keep them talking," her thought, "before you slash me to bits," he said. "Who's this patron you mentioned?" Ariel snickered the goddess Gria. "Of course, the one who brought us back from oblivion. You won't live long enough to meet her, but your friends below will soon face her wrath. Even now, her armies are marching south. At the feast of fortune, she will awaken. The Dimash will be cut down like our low prices at Bargin March," Steno suggested. "Gah!" Ariel stormed toward her sister. Percy took the opening. He grabbed Steno's platter, scorching poisoned cheese and winners, and ripped it across Ariel's waist, cutting her in half. He raised the platter, and Steno found herself facing her own greasy reflection. "Medusa!" she screamed. Her sister Ariel had crumbled to dust, but she was already starting to reform, like a stoneman unmelting. "Steno, you fool!" she gurgled as her half-made face rose from the mound of dust. "That's just your own reflection. Get him!" Percy slammed the metal tray on top of Steno's head, and she passed out cold. He put the platter behind his butt, said a silent prayer to whatever Roman god oversaw stupid sleeping tricks, and jumped off the side of the hill. So we finished chapter 1 today, so we will be continuing from chapter 2 tomorrow. Thank you.